Hello, folks. Ram Ramji. Welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. Last time we discussed what was afoot locally, meaning internally. All the things which the opposition parties were doing to disrupt everything, especially the Waqf Board, the Jamiat Ulema-e-Hind for the finance, and the Congress party making all sorts of laws in favor of Muslims, anti-Hindu laws. This time, the other half, the foreign hand. You see, Rahul Gandhi, the leader of the opposition, spends a lot of time in the US and sometimes the UK also. Whom does he meet? What does he have to discuss with them at this time? And how come he comes out with these statements like, by December, the Modi government will be forced to resign? Well, you're seeing what the organizations in India are doing. Now let's see what he does in foreign lands. September, Rahul Gandhi was in the US. Okay, that's fine. Okay, no problem. Whom does he meet? He goes to the SFC, which is a school where the CIA draws 60% of its agents from. That's where they train. Who finances them? That school? The Muslim Brotherhood. What is Rahul Gandhi doing there? In that school. Other pictures emerge of Rahul Gandhi speaking to or being introduced to George Soros' daughter. I wonder why. Remember George Soros, Open Society Foundation? You understand? Who else does he meet? Or better still, who else is with him? See, a few days before Rahul Gandhi goes there, M.K. Stalin, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, he is in the US. And a day after he gets there, Mr. Kumaraswamy, the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, is invited to go there. What are all three of them doing there at the same time? Who are the people they're meeting? How about people like Donald Lu, Victoria Nuland, regime change experts? In case you've forgotten, Victoria Nuland was in Chennai last year, that's January 2023, when, at the same time when the BBC documentary on Godhra 2002 came out and the first Hindenburg report came out, everybody's attention was there, so she was in Chennai, and then Rahul Gandhi, a long chat with Rahul Gandhi in Delhi. Of course, Stalin, she had already met in Chennai. So, what were Mr. Kumaraswamy, Stalin, and Rahul Gandhi doing in the US at the same time? Who were they meeting? Were they meeting Kamala Harris? If so, why? Was he talking to people like George Soros and his Open Society Foundation? If so, why? Were they meeting people like Victoria Nuland, Donald Lu in Washington? Why? Remember, just before the coup in Bangladesh, Rahul Gandhi had been in London. He had spoken with Khaleda Zia's son. He had spoken to George Soros' representatives. He had spoken to a whole lot of other people, which means, well, of course, the US Embassy is full of CIA agents, whether in New Delhi or whether in London or anywhere else. So he would have been in contact with them also. You remember last year, or was it 2 years ago, he was almost begging the US, what are you doing? Why aren't you intervening in India? Intervening for what? It seems to Mr. Rahul Gandhi, democracy is only safe if he wins the election. Anybody else wins? Oh no, it's not democracy anymore. It's gone, it's dead. And the lies he told here, just before the general election. For instance, he said, Mr. Modi wants to change the constitution, which is one of the biggest lies possible. Mr. Modi did not want to change the constitution, he wanted to implement the constitution. For instance, the constitution, Article 44 specifically says, a uniform civil code must be implemented as soon as possible in all the territories of India. And yet Nehru, in 1956, got this law passed whereby a Hindu civil code was imposed upon us. Now all that Mr. Modi needs to do is change the wording of that. Instead of Hindu civil code, make it uniform civil code, applicable to everybody. If 80% have to live by it, what about the other 20? Why not? Why are they exempt? Are they super citizens? And yet, and this is the ignorance of the BJP party and Mr. Modi too, they never refuted this. Why? Now, coming back to Rahul Gandhi in the US, why is he so keen to talk to people like Victoria Nuland and Donald Lu? We know Donald Lu is responsible for that coup in Bangladesh. So what are they planning for India? This is where the foreign hand comes in. You see, the CIA uses all sorts of, almost any organization possible. Like the church, like the Ford Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, what is it, Action Aid. They're all CIA arms or fronts for the CIA. So is the CFR, which is a very well-known and rather important so-called NGO in Delhi, I think it's based. What is that? The CPR, Center for Policy Research. That is funded by people like the Ford Foundation. I mean, how ludicrous can one get? How blatant can one get? Now, had this been happening in the US and these organizations been of Indian origin, for instance, people like Jennifer Larson, she was talking to Asaduddin Owaisi, and then she went and spoke with Pawan Kalyan and Chandrababu Naidu. Why? Was she trying to ensure that NDA allies start splitting apart? Why? And then the moment the elections are declared for Jammu and Kashmir, the political counselor from the US Embassy goes to Jammu and Kashmir, or Srinagar, and has a long chat with Omar Abdullah. Remember, Omar Abdullah had declared that he would not contest the election? After this visit, of course, he suddenly wants to. What's happening? Had this been US diplomats, the ambassador would have been called to the State Department in Washington, given a real dressing down, and then told this person, they are persona non grata, make sure they leave this country within 24 hours, otherwise they will be behind bars. In other words, their diplomatic status has been revoked. Why are they still allowed to wander around here? Also during that period, those leaders who took part in the farm agitation a couple of years ago were invited to the US Embassy at 2 in the morning. What were they doing there at 2 in the morning, heavily cloaked, so that it'd be difficult to recognize them? Fortunately, when they came out, they were followed. And the NIA was informed about their activities. Now, such activities would be frowned, they would just not be tolerated in the US. Why are you doing it here? Is this not blatant interference in our affairs? And then Rahul Gandhi, for some reason, is suddenly found in Uzbekistan, or is it Kazakhstan? Whom does he meet there? Somebody called Powers, Samantha Powers. Is she another part of this regime change team? So you see, there's so much going on here. Plus, George Soros' Open Society Foundation, which is all over the place in India, spreading all sorts of lies. And you see, the Congress party, from one side, has been making everything favor Muslims. Sharia law is already in force in India, not since 1995, since 1956. Why? The moment the Hindu civil code was imposed on us, it meant Hindus came under it, but the others, especially Muslims, they could run riot. It didn't apply to them. And then, of course, it's Waqf Act 1995. I mean, it is the limit. Not only does it need amendment, I believe firmly, it needs repealing totally. Remember, there is no Waqf board in any of the other 56 Islamic countries. Why is there one here? Please answer this to us. If you can't, then please remove the Waqf board. We don't need it here. Because all that it does is provide land to settle Bangladeshi and Rohingya illegal migrants, which is a threat to national security. It changes our demography everywhere. Jharkhand and West Bengal are already feeling the influence. Now Himachal Pradesh, same thing. Apparently there are about 185,000 people in there. Not a small number. How did they get there? I explained in the previous one. Every district Shahi Idgah is in direct touch with Jama Masjid in Delhi. And they say, so many go here, so many go here, so many go here. They disappear. Nobody knows where, how come. And you think, how many of them are terrorists? Bangladesh is a very open border. When is that going to be closed? You see, the foreign hand is not a joke anymore. It's very real. Interference is something we do not require. And if you still want to vote for Congress, well, I really feel sorry for you. Because then there is no hope for this country. What is Rahul Gandhi being built up for? Who's doing it? In the same way that a comedian called Zelensky was built up from being a comedian into a politician. That same photo ops are changing the image of Rahul Gandhi in India. For instance, he goes to see loco drivers. There's only a film crew there. You don't see any loco drivers. You can't because they aren't there. And yet, this big photo shoot. So folks, please, if you see this sort of thing happening, please report it to the authorities. And please make sure the authorities take action. If nothing else, at least get together. Now you see the solidarity among Muslims. A mosque was going to be demolished in Mumbai. How many thousands of people went into Mumbai? Why can't you do the same thing? But then this is exactly what Rahul Gandhi wants, absolute chaos. This is what is being done. He's trying to destroy our stock markets. He's trying to destroy our economy. And if the stock market crashes, it's you and I who suffer because our money that's invested there. Not foreign investment, but our local investors, we do the suffering. And he keeps talking about unemployment. It's bound to happen. When you've got 60 or 70 million Bangladeshi illegal migrants here, our own people will be out of work. Because remember, once the Muslim organizations take hold, they only employ Muslims. What happens to our people? Unemployment? All that we worked for, we're going the same way as Bangladesh or Pakistan, which is what this man seems to want. And this is what the Americans want. They don't want us to be self-sufficient in defense production, missile productions. They don't want us to produce our own aircraft, fighters or what have you. They don't want us to because it's their markets that are losing out. They can't sell their stuff here because we're making our own, probably better stuff. And now, of course, the Philippines have bought BrahMos missiles from us. Why? The US has nothing to compare with them. So they're hopping mad. The US wants us to fail because that has been their policy all along. The US must do well, others must be made to do badly. If they're not doing badly, they must be made to do badly. You know what economic terrorism is. For instance, Ukraine, there was a gas pipeline between Russia and Germany, which bypassed Ukraine. It is now well known that the CIA, in collusion with Ukraine, blew it up. Why? Because now the Americans can sell Russian oil and crude to Europe at 4 times the price. They buy it at, say, 1 and sell it to Europe at 4 and keep the 3 in their own pockets. European industry goes bankrupt almost because they can't afford to pay that higher price and keep their industries going. They can't compete anywhere after that, which is precisely what they want. So now Western Europe is an American colony. And they would like to do that to us also. I hope to God they don't succeed. I hope to heaven we get something into our thick skulls. People like Rahul Gandhi should be brought to book. For instance, what is in that MOU between Rahul Gandhi's Congress Party and the Communist Party of China? His thing, telling people this is all, all these rich houses and so on, this is all your property. which means he's encouraging looting on a grand scale, exactly like the Chinese Revolution, where the rich were targeted and wiped out. However, that did not make the rest of China rich. In the same way, you destroy the rich here, you won't make the poor rich. You can't. And then the ultimate division card, the caste census. The very thing we've been trying very hard to get away from for 50 years or 70 years. He wants us to drag us back inside. Even his grandmother Indira Gandhi said, this is something that should never creep into our systems again. And he wants it all back in. Mean you want to drag us back 70 years? Come on, old boy. Get with it. Grow up. Anyway, folks, I'll leave that to you to decide, because you're the electorate, you're the people who vote. Please pass this on to your friends and your groups and everybody else. And I hope you see sense. All the best.